fast food, beef tallow, kettle ranching, California water, seed oils, David over Goliath. What the hell do all of these have in common? You're not going to believe what the system is going to prevent you from eating next. And House of David, the famous biblical epic, is getting the Hollywood treatment. But did they do it justice? Is it too little too late, or is this the beginning of a conservative cinema renaissance? Also, vitamin B12, you're probably definitely not getting enough. And I'm not just talking about you vegans out there, I'm talking everyone. There's a new study highlighting just that. And juicing, I don't mean roids, I don't mean testosterone. I'm talking about just fruit juice and vegetable juice. Is it healthy? Is it not healthy? Does it spike insulin? Does it give you a sugar high? What about those juice fasts people claim to have profound benefits? We're going to go into all of it. What we've read, what we've experienced personally. So let's dig in. I'm Brett Edwards sitting in for Mark Owens and Evan Kaufman. Here we go. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Okay, let's dig right into it, folks. This is what we got. First, let's start right off. Beef tallow, RFK's in office. It's making waves. What is it? Is it actually that healthy? Does it make the fries taste better? Remember, back in the day, McDonald's, that's what they used to fry their French fries in. It used to be beef tallow, which is, for anybody that doesn't know, beef tallow is just the white part on the steak. They trim it off. That's the beef fat. They render it down by heating it up. I'm going to show you a video in just a little bit of that and exactly how I do it. It renders into this liquid gold, and then once it cools and it goes in the refrigerator, then it becomes like this white butter paste, and it tastes amazing. But is it actually healthier? We got some science here, and we've got a PubMed study to break it down. Okay, so let's move right into this first headline today. This burger chain announces states where fries have been, quote, RFK. There it is. This marks a shift in the fast food industry, echoing a growing movement to return to traditional cooking fats that were replaced by seed oils in the mid-20th century. Okay, so what are the positives of it? Unlike seed oils, beef tallow is supposed to be more stable at high temperatures and contains beneficial fatty acids. Now, more stable, I think this is one of the most important things, okay? More stable because it's high in saturated fat. You get oils like coconut oil that's high in saturated fat. It's much more stable when you cook it. I don't think, obviously, the seed oils, when you go through it and they bleach, and you bleach them and you deodorize them and you heat them to these extreme temperatures, it turns the molecules around on their head and it becomes something that is not good for the body. I think the science is getting pretty clear on that. And I think all you have to do is go to your local shopping mall or go out any town in America and look around. Any restaurant, what are they putting in the food? And look at the people. Most of them are metabolically unhealthy. And I think it's partly due to the seed oils. Okay, so let's get into not for centuries. This is ridiculous. Who wrote these notes? Probably for the last 70 years, we've demonized saturated fat. This is a terrible substance that you ingest. You're going to get heart disease, you're going to have a heart attack, but that doesn't necessarily seem to be the case when compared to these hydrogenated vegetable oils. Okay, and new research suggests that tallow may actually reduce inflammation compared to the processed seed oils. This is shocking. I know, you guys are shocked. This is unbelievable. More restaurants are moving towards traditional fats in response to consumer demand. What is this burger chain? It's Steak and Shake. Now, I had Steak and Shake for the first time, and I can't tell you how long, and the only reason I went is because of the beef tallow fries. And guess what I had? I had 3 or 4 beef patties, just the patty, no bun, no fluff. What did I have with that? I actually ordered French fries. To be honest with you, when I started eating properly, I hadn't had French fries since then, probably 2022. It must be going on 3 years now, something like that. I hadn't had them because they're deep fried in these oils. And did I miss them? Not really. Not really. When you understand how harmful they are to your body, and the way they, and the things that they're doing on the inside. I mean, there's been a lot of people, you get these influencers on YouTube, they come out and they say, okay, eat the hamburger, eat the cheeseburger, sure. Just don't eat the French fries because that's the absolute worst thing that you can do for your body. They may be right. Okay. And I had the French fries deep fried in the beef tallow at Steak and Shake. I didn't have a full container of them because it's still potato and I'm not necessarily big on the starchy carbs. But that being said, I had them, and the first thing my wife said was that her fingers weren't greasy when she was grabbing the potatoes. My kids, same thing. They're like, there's no oil residue left on the fries. And I'm like, that's really interesting. So it doesn't stick and cling to the potato, maybe like the vegetable canola oils do, okay? But they tasted good. They tasted like French fries. Now, I haven't had any in 3 years, so I don't know what the other kind tastes like. I just remember French fries being so damn good, especially when they're hot and they're salty. But I just made the decision that it wasn't worth it for me. Am I going to eat Steak and Shake French fries every day? No. Am I going to eat them once a week? No. But when I go out with my kids and get fast food, am I going to lean towards Steak and Shake and maybe have a few fries? Yeah. Yeah, it's a possibility. I might do that. And I'm now going to lean more towards Steak and Shake than any other restaurant, any other fast food restaurant, even In-N-Out. And I know that's crazy, but I don't go to In-N-Out a lot because I don't eat the burgers. I don't eat the buns. I don't eat the fluff. But if I was going to, if it was going to be some, the 1 or 2 cheat days that I allow myself every year, I would probably go to not Steak and Shake. I would probably go to In-N-Out. Now I would go to Steak and Shake. There's no question about it because why not? Okay. What are the negatives about this beef tallow stuff? Many people still believe this is the brainwashing or just the lack of education that I think is going on, believe saturated fats are inherently bad, despite significant research showing otherwise. What research do you say? Now, I'm not a doctor. I'm not one of these PhD guys. I'm just a regular guy who has become an expert at his own body and understanding what works for him and what doesn't. So when I say these things work for me, and they work pretty damn well. I've never felt better. I've never been sick less in my life. I'm not going to say I don't get sick. I hate the people that say, I'm never sick. I've never been sick in 30 years. And I think that's just preposterous. Maybe it's true, but for me, I don't think that's a possibility. Okay, so look, here we go. This is PubMed, I believe. My printer's running out of ink. Yeah, PubMed, okay. This is vegetable oil or animal fat oil, which is more conducive to cardiovascular health among the elderly in China. Our present study aimed to investigate the relationship between cooking oil types and atherosclerotic cardiovascular disease, ASCVD. Wow, that's a mouthful. And to reveal which cooking oil is more beneficial to cardiovascular health in older Chinese people. Maybe it's a Chinese thing. Maybe it's an American thing. I don't know. I don't think the race necessarily matters that much, so it's human, so let's just cut down to the point here. Compared with lard/other animal fat users, the multivariate adjusted model indicated that vegetable oil, sesame oil users were significantly associated with a higher risk of atherosclerotic cardiovascular disease. Our study found that cooking with lard and animal fat oil is more beneficial to cardiovascular health in older Chinese. Dietary guidelines should seriously consider the health effects of substituting vegetable and ginger oil for lard and other animal fat for different populations. So that's when I say this is Chinese people. I don't know if I don't think this is a race thing because I feel better eating it. They have lower rates of atherosclerotic cardiovascular disease. I'm getting really good at saying that. And so that's good enough for me. I think I deleted the website where I got it from, but so I can't tell you how recent it is because once again, my printer, this study relied on cross-selection data from Chinese Longitudinal Healthy Survey and the 2018 wave. Okay. and the elderly are 65 years or older. 65 years or older. What's everybody who goes to a cardiovascular surgeon or cardiovascular doctor being told? They told this to my dad, and he spent probably the last, 30 years of his life in and out of the hospital. They told him, stop eating the red meat, cut back on the butter, drink alcohol in moderation. Come on, guys. Come on. We can't say that. Okay. So the quotes from this article, this mark for this beef tallow marks a shift in the fast food industry, echoing a growing movement to the return to traditional cooking fats that were replaced by seed oils in the mid-20th century. Now, that's going to have a drawback. What the hell's going on with my camera? What's happening? There we go. That's going to have a drawback, which we're going to get to in a couple segments, okay? But I want to move on. Look, bottom line, if you can get your hands on beef tallow, here, let me play this video, actually. Hopefully I didn't. Let me play this video of what is beef tallow and how to cook it.
So I trimmed a whole brisket. And
so this is from Lisa Nguyen. What she's doing is she's trimming off the fat from, I think she had a brisket.
The fat went into a pot on low heat,
and she cooks it over the stove. She vacuum seals that. Vacuum sealing, I'm a huge advocate for, especially if you eat a lot of beef or a lot of meat. Okay, and she's cooking it at very low heat. What she does, and let me pause that, what she does is she puts it on a stovetop. I'll put it in a big stock pot and I'll put it inside the oven. And the one thing you must not do is you can't cover it because it doesn't allow the moisture to evaporate. So don't cover it. Stock pot open. Just put all the fat trimmings in there. Sometimes I heat it up first on the stove while the oven preheats. And then I just stick that bad boy in the oven. And I'm not even kidding you, 6 to 8 hours, something like that. It takes a long time, and you get this liquid gold. You've got to get your straining process figured out, too. I wouldn't recommend using a paper towel because this shit is very hot. And look, liquid gold comes out white. You cook it. You sear your steaks in it. It's unbelievable.
I didn't want to waste it, so I trimmed the trimmings by cutting away the extra meat.
Anybody who's had a steak cooked in beef tallow, can you comment below and tell me if it tastes better or worse than a steak cooked in olive oil or vegetable oil or whatever they're using at the, I had, there was this big time chef. It was at this event that they were catering once, and the chef was cooking this just unbelievable skirt steak and took it off the grill, open flame, amazing, all that stuff, took it off the grill, and I took a bite of it and I was like, this tastes interesting. What was it, a marinade or something? And he said, no, I emulsified it and like coated it in canola oil after I cooked it on the grill. And I was chewing on the steak at that time, and honestly, I wanted to spit the steak out, but we still have to have manners in this world, and one little bite of seed oil is not going to kill you. It's obviously when you're eating seed oils in some capacity for every meal for years on end, it's going to cause problems. Okay. I could digress forever. So let's go to the next one. Let's talk about Hollywood and Bible stories. This is really interesting. There's this new series coming out called House of David on Amazon Prime. And I'm interested. I like the fact that it's a series because the story of David is so complex and it's an epic. So I don't think it could be told in one movie. So I like that it's a series. The life of David's an odyssey. It's so vast. It's layered with triumphs, failures, and redemption. This comes from either Joe Irwin or John Gunn on crafting the biblical epic. Now, David's an interesting character. Let's play this trailer. I want to get your all's thoughts.
Can one stone change the course of history?
That's interesting. We're talking history here.
God, send me your javelin.
I like that he just looks just like a big human. He looks like a Nephilim.
Can one act of defiance,
different race of person,
create the legend?
Animal.
I will tell you the story of David, a simple shepherd boy.
Why do my brothers get to fight? And I'm stuck here.
David, you are not a man of blood.
An outcast. who became one of the most famous kings who ever lived.
God does not see what man sees. He sees into the heart. And you have the heart of a lion.
The Philistines have assembled. I saw the print of a hand, larger than a weaver's basket.
They have a giant.
What?
My king, I will fight the giant.
Fight him with the same spirit you bring into this room.
You play music for my father. Now he chooses you as champion. How will you do this?
It's not about the greatness of the giant. It is about the greatness of God.
Are you afraid?
Terrified.
I believe in you.
So, as the fate of a people hangs in the balance, again I ask this question. Can one stone change the course of history?
Boom. Okay. Now we're back. Now, let me know what you guys think. I think it looks pretty good, honestly. I think that it gets away from this idea that faith-based films are corny and cheesy and really bad stories. What's interesting about that is I dug into I just want to see what some people think on why Christian movies in general stink. They're getting better. This looks like it's going to be pretty darn good. And this is Old Testament too, so it doesn't just have to be a Christian movie, right? So, this guy asked, why are Christian movies typically so bad? And this guy said, a lot of the movies you mention are made with an agenda to get Christians into theaters and to reinforce stereotypes. But not all faith-based movies are bad. Ben-Hur and the Ten Commandments are cinematic classics beloved by people of many faiths. There are many examples of good religious films. Even something like the Coen brothers' film, A Serious Man, can be seen as a religious film as it is based off the story of Job. This guy says, that's a good point. Many bad Christian movies are only called that because there's nothing else in the film that they can be identified by, which is a hallmark of a bad film. Touché. Ben-Hur, the Ten Commandments, etc., have a multitude of positive attributes, which is why they can be called epics or dramas. Well, no, an epic is a long story told over time. We tend to conflate that with the epic film, like something like Transformers. But an epic is a long story, a long journey told over time. These dramas can still get an audience without specifically enticing the religious crowd. So I think that's right. I think that if you can only identify it by the fact that it was a faith-based film, then the odds are it's not the film. It's not the film that was bad. It's not that it was the content, it's that the film was bad. I had this issue with the film with Jim Caviezel. I can't think of the name right now, where he rescues the child. I love the premise. I love the idea. I love the fact that it's based on this real guy. But there was just something in the execution of the film that didn't do it for me, that I thought was really poor. And I don't know if it was the dad leaving his daughters in this random apartment at the beginning, as if I know maybe you tweak the story just a little bit, because that made it so hard to believe that this guy just left them there with strangers at this apartment and then went about his day. I don't know. I couldn't buy that. But then there was just something about the execution of the film. He goes deep into the jungle by boat. He has no weapons. He sneaks in somehow, fools everybody. I mean, the story happened. Maybe it's embellished to some extent. I don't know. But I'm glad that he got it out. But it's just, it was very hard for me to believe. Okay, let's move on. I could go on forever. Here's the thing with the negatives with the David film that we're going to see if they get into or not. Okay. It's adultery and murder. Makes for good drama. Good cinema. His affair with Bathsheba and the murder of Uriah had devastating consequences. 2 Samuel 11. Okay. Family betrayals. His son Absalom led a rebellion against him. 2 Samuel 15 for later. Okay. Judgment for pride. A census of Israel brought a plague among the people. 2 Samuel 24. Okay. So it's, I think there's plenty of room for drama, and David seems he has his lineage. His lineage connects to Jesus down the line, which is pretty cool. And there's a way that they can go with that maybe relates it to the chosen. I don't know, might be cool, but David is such a complex character because he's not a perfect human being. He's given incredible power, and he has issues. It's this roller coaster ride. It's this up and down, and it doesn't start with this up of the. I'm interested to see how they do it. How soon it starts with the triumph over Goliath, and we'll see. Okay, let's move on to this next story, which ties in to the first part of the little cold open we did about beef. I want to talk about beef. It's a staple in my diet. I would say 90%, 85% of what I consume is beef. Okay, and so let's go to this. Forget egg prices. There's one more grocery staple that sits near record highs at $11.97 per pound, and it's adding to the squeeze on Americans. Here's what it is. Beef prices nearing record highs, placing strain on families who rely on affordable protein sources. It's not just protein. It's one of the most nutrient dense. It may be the most nutrient dense food on the planet. If I had to eat one food the rest of my life, it would be beef. There's no question about it. I think that with enough fat in the beef, I could live off of it. I would miss some other things. I would probably miss eggs. I would miss butter. If I could have butter and beef, I think I'd be set. Okay. It's that good. And it has, let me pull this up. Let's see. I'm going to pull up the nutrient breakdown of ground beef. My spelling is awful because my computer's stuck under my microphone. Okay, so let's see. Okay. Beef, that's 70% fat. Okay, the nutritional content of beef varies. It's a good source of protein, iron, and zinc. Zinc, that's one of those things that you need when there's a sickness going around. Interesting. Okay. No vitamin C, but it has, come on, what are the nutrients? And it's loaded with B vitamins. Here's a decent graphic. No fiber. Don't care. No, that's not a good graphic. Come on, give me something. Same graphic. Vitamins and minerals. Beef is a good source of carnitine, zinc, selenium, iron, B vitamins, anserine, taurine, creatine. Decent. I mean, you probably need to supplement, but it also has plenty of protein, plenty of fat, B vitamins. It's loaded. Thiamine, riboflavin, niacin. I'm reading all these off. Folate, which tune in tomorrow. We're going to talk about folate with Dr. Fry from Phoenix, Arizona, who is using a tablet called leucovorin, which is a chemo drug that seems to be a good, not cure, but reversal of nonverbal autism in children. So let's tune in tomorrow. We're going to post that hopefully tomorrow morning. We're recording very early, and I'm going to post it right away because it's so cool. Okay. You guys, you're not going to believe what he has to say. Okay. It says it's possible to be allergic to beef, but it's so small. The B vitamin niacin also aids in proper function of many bodily systems, including the production of sex hormones. So if you have low testosterone, you're not eating enough fat, don't get enough B vitamins. Maybe you don't get enough niacin. Okay. So I want to, let's see. I want to go to this video of this rancher. This is one of the major problems here. And you could say it's a conspiracy. I don't think it's a conspiracy. Here's what I think's happening. Beef has been bastardized and demonized for the last 70 years. Don't eat it. You're going to get heart disease. You're going to get cancer. You're going to have a heart attack. You're going to die. Well, I don't know about you, but when I cook with a bunch of fat, when I cook with a bunch of beef tallow, and I rinse that pan off in the sink, and it gets on other items in the sink, like forks, plates, dishes, whatever, and it's covered in that grease, it's pretty difficult to pick up. When I go and I cut my kids' pancakes, which have egg in them, which have this organic red hard wheat flour, and it has milk. When I go, which has lactose in it, when I go and cut those pancakes, it sticks to the knife. And it takes a stainless scrubber to get all the marks off. So when you talk about clogging arteries, this isn't scientifically driven. This is just an observational study on a freaking knife. Okay? There it is. Nothing sticks to the knife when it's the grease from the fat, from the beef tallow or the butter. But I'll be damned when I cut into that newly cooked pancake, all kinds of residue sticks on the side of this butter knife. Why am I saying this? Think about the inside of your arteries. Think about the inside of your pipes, man. Look, grease, it doesn't stick. It acts as a lubricant. It's the other things that are causing the issue. It's the lectins in the wheat. It's the sugar in the wheat. There's something going on that makes it very sticky versus the beef that makes it the grease that makes it very slippery. So that's just my observational study. I'll have to show a video of it sometime. It's pretty interesting. Okay, but back to my point on, I don't think it's a conspiracy. Beef has been demonized for the last 70 years. Okay? You're told you don't want to eat it in moderation. It should be a thing. You go out for a steak dinner. Awesome. Amazing. Okay. Celebration, right? But during that time, the demand has gone down. The increase for real estate has gone through the roof. Cattle ranchers, with the advance in technology, cattle ranchers, they can't pay their bills because the land is so damn expensive and the demand is so low. Okay? And not only that, the new generations, they don't want to do it anymore. It's hard work. Why do I want to sit there and work day in and day out? When it's cold, when it's hot, there's always something going wrong on the ranch. You never get a day off. Why the hell do I want to do that when I can go work a 9 to 5, live a comfortable living, maybe even work from home? I probably don't even have to get out of my sweats. So their kids aren't taking over the ranches. Real estate's increasing. But for so long, the demand has gone down. But now with people seeing such great results from the carnivore diet and the keto diet, the demand is ticking back up. So I want to play this video and then I'm going to expound upon it afterwards. That's not the one. Come on, Edwards.
On his California cattle ranch,
come on, girls.
Kevin Kester says he's just trying to stay afloat.
Biggest challenge we're facing right now is the cost of doing business.
The fifth-generation rancher now operates with half the cattle he used to have.
The lifeblood of your family essentially runs right through this herd.
It does. This is our lifeline. We don't have anything else.
He'd love to rebuild his herd, but says he loses too many cows to drought. Now Kester and ranchers nationwide are caught in a supply and demand struggle, driving beef prices up. The contributing causes converging. The industry facing rising interest rates, high grain prices, and a shrinking U.S. cattle inventory, the smallest it's been since 1951.
Ranchers and cattle processors are facing really high costs to do business right now, and so that means the beef that we buy at the grocery store is ultimately going to be more expensive.
Popular cuts like USDA sirloin steaks now near record
sirloin,
highs.
that's a ribeye.
Ground beef as well, selling for 43% more than 5 years ago. This on top of the increase in egg prices hitting consumers due to the avian flu. The average price of eggs up 53% compared to a year ago. Back on the ranch, Kester says they've weathered storms before, but this one, it's different.
I'm optimistic about the future, but it's going to take a lot of hard work in order to make our business, our family operations successful for the future generations.
And tonight, relief could be a ways off for both consumers and ranchers, with experts saying it's not going to take months, but years before herds nationwide can grow to where they can better meet demand.
The demand is increased significantly because of the carnivore diet. You have a lot of young males and even some females who are like, you mean I don't have to be like my dad? I don't have to be old, decrepit, injured, in pain, inflamed all the time, at the doctor all the time, taking 75 pills a week? You mean I don't have to do that? All I have to do is eat beef? Yeah. Yeah, okay. I know we weren't told that in school, but I'm going to give it a shot. And I have given it a shot. And I feel great. I got to be honest with you. I did 18 months of a strict carnivore diet. I would have about 2,000 to 2,500 calories a day between red meat and beef. And that was once a day. I would do 23-hour fast for about 18 months. And then for 1 hour, I would just unload on beef and eggs and lots of butter and lots of salt. And I had never seen the brain fog fatal. I didn't even know I had brain fog until it was gone. I didn't know what energy was until it came back. The only thing I will say about that is to do the 23-hour fast. To me, it wasn't like a real fast because I was drinking coffee. I would have like 2 or 3 coffees a day. I'm like, whatever. Instead of food, just give me a coffee. Make it strong and black, okay? And when I stopped drinking coffee for about 45 days over the Christmas holidays and Thanksgiving, that's a fast. If you can do a fast without drinking coffee and just doing water, that's a real fast. Coffee is like kind of like a cheat. It's like a cheat code, okay? And I still think it's better to fast and drink coffee than not fast at all. I don't really fast that much anymore. I will sometimes go like a day where I won't eat till 1 o'clock. But right now I'm so active, and with the kids' schedule, I'll have a little breakfast in the morning. I'll try to get carbohydrates in through fruit and honey in the middle of the day with a little bit more protein. And then I found that my sleep is excellent if I don't eat any carbohydrates for dinner or low. I go, like a keto meal, a bunch of red meat and a salad. And when I mean a salad, it's like Parmesan cheese, maybe some avocado and some lettuce, never spinach. But okay. All right. So that's the long of it, why I think that there's a situation going on with cattle ranches in the country. It's been demonized. It's been, oh my gosh, you can't possibly eat this stuff except for the random times you have a barbecue. And now people are like, I'm eating this shit every day. And I feel great. And so now all cattle ranches are going bust. The demand's increasing. So these things aren't overnight. So I think given time, if there's a way to make money, people will find a way to make it happen. And wouldn't it be great for cattle to be king again in this country? Okay, so I have this article. I can get more into it on NerdWallet. Drought, as well as high grain prices and interest rates, have contributed. That's what they said in the video. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. Back in January 1st of 2014, beef prices were just under $7 per pound. I think this is an average between sirloin steak and ground beef costs. Okay. Now it's up to, it's pretty volatile, but now it's up as of the end of 2024, it's up to over $11 a pound. Data shows prices for these two popular products remain fairly consistent until the first summer of the COVID-19 pandemic, when consumers spent more time cooking at home and thus got healthier. Crazy. I know beef is so expensive right now because drought, high grain prices. We saw that to deal with rising operating costs, many U.S. cattle farmers reduced the size of their herds, and some got out of the business altogether. As a result, Cattle inventory is the smallest since 1951. I want to know what that is. 1951. That's post-World War II. World War II ended in 1945, 1951. That's 6 years after. That's pretty damn low. Who was running the cattle ranches when World War II was going down? Generally, beef prices will go down when the supply increases or demand decreases, or both. For now, beef prices seem poised to continue climbing. Here's why. Demand typically peaks in the summer, contributing to higher prices through July, especially around 4th of July. The real question would be, are we seeing some exhaustion? Will consumers start to change over to cheaper substitutes? You're not giving me anything, Nerd Wallet. Give me something decent. While cattle inventory is decreasing overall, the number of cattle in feedlots, a weigh station in the commercial beef supply chain before cattle are sent to meat packers, has actually been higher than it was a year ago. But we don't want feedlot beef. That's the other thing. We don't want that shit. I feed that shit to my dog. Honestly. Okay, that means there are still plenty of beef cows in the pipeline, which helps temper prices. But soon that will change. That's because many farmers reduce the size of their herds by sending female cows to slaughter instead of keeping them to breed more calves. Why would they do that? Currently, drought conditions are improving and feed costs are coming down. Are drought conditions improving because California is finally getting water? I mean, but California is not the only place with cows. I'm not impressed, Nerd Wallet. You guys are telling me a whole lot of nothing. Reversing the trend isn't like flipping a switch. First, farmers must decide to expand their herd. And then there's the time factor. Once it's born, a calf won't be big enough to sell for beef until it's roughly 18 months to 2 years old. It should be older than that. We've got to stop giving these cows this Zeranol, Zerilonone stuff. You put it in their ear, they eat 33% less feed, and they grow to the same size. And they do it faster. We got to stop giving them these antibiotics and these hormones. Okay, let's move on. I want to talk about juice cleanses. Don't do it! This adds to the growing body of research showing that even short dietary changes can have a big impact on gut bacteria. It's been profound now that the gut microbiome is 70% at least of the immune system. Okay? Now, this study was talking about how 3 days of a juice cleanse can mess with your gut, your metabolism, and even immunity. That's from the New York Post. Okay, the positives. Juice cleanses can increase hydration and provide micronutrients. I think they can also decrease inflammation quite a bit. And it's much easier to digest. Some people feel temporarily lighter. That could be from the lack of inflammation. Now, this is what it says the negatives are. Disrupts the gut bacteria balance, which increases inflammation in the gut, can cause energy crashes and hormonal imbalances, fails to support long-term detoxification. Okay. Now, have you guys ever tried juice cleanses? I want to know. Leave us a comment below. But the other thing about juice cleanses, it seems to be that there's two schools of thought. There are the people who are anti-juice, so you can't have orange juice because it's terribly unhealthy and it has no fiber and it's just going to spike your insulin and it's going to give you this big sugar rush and then a sugar crash. It's no better for you than Coca-Cola. And then there's this other side that says it's extremely hydrating. In fact, it may even hydrate you better than water. Orange juice I'm talking about. So when it comes to juicing, I'll go to Costco. I'll get frozen organic strawberries, frozen organic blueberries. I'll dump those in the Vitamix. I'll fill it up. For the kids, I'll do raw milk. I go up and down with raw milk. There are times I can drink raw milk and it doesn't seem like I have any issues. But then it also seems that if I drink too consistently, I have issues. Okay, so what I did was I switched to goat milk. It's all A2 protein. And instead of the A1, which typically cows have A1 and A2. You can get A2 cows, but it just doesn't work as well for me as goat milk. And what's interesting is I started using goat kefir for about 2 months. And I would just take a shot of it in the morning, sometimes a shot in the evening, just to get the gut bacteria rolling and proliferating. And at first, I just didn't like the taste of goat anything. It tasted gamey to me. Goat cheese, none of that. It tasted nasty. Now what's really interesting is when I make one of these smoothies with the frozen blueberries, honey, and frozen strawberries, and I put the goat milk in it, it tastes like regular milk to me. And it tastes pretty damn good. And I've been trying to experiment with less protein. There was a point around the time I stopped drinking coffee when I was trying to eat something like 200 grams of protein a day. I'm a 175-pound male, 6 feet tall. I was trying to eat 200 grams of protein a day, and I was heavy lifting. And so I still do the heavy lifting, but I felt, gosh, my joints ached. My muscle, my whole body ached, and I felt like I lost a ton of flexibility, and I felt like I was tired all the time. And now what I've done is I've lowered the protein. I'm still lifting heavy. I don't seem to be losing any strength. And what's interesting is I'm pretty active. I would say very active for a 38-year-old adult male. And Paul Saladino talks about eating 300 to 400 grams of carbohydrates a day. I have no idea on earth how he consumes that much, because that's in addition to the meat. He's eating like 3,500 calories a day. I used to be able to crush food. Now I get to like 140 carbohydrates a day, and I feel like I have no more room for, obviously I still meat first, fat first, always for me is the main two. Protein and fat are the two main macronutrients that I want to get after first, that I want to hit those no matter what it is. I don't know what they are. I just want to be satiated with fat and protein first, and then I'll worry about carbohydrates. But so what I'll do is I'll eat protein kind of a lot in the morning, middle of the day. This is only going on like a week now. I will have a fruit bowl and some protein, and then a little bit later I'll have a fruit smoothie, the way that I told you, with some protein and fat. And then for dinner I'll have heavy protein, fat, and zero carbohydrates. And it seems to be working actually pretty well. I don't do a lot of long exercise. If I run, it's never over 2 miles. I did a triathlon once. I had a gimpy arm. My arm was paralyzed, and my wife thought it would be a good idea. There's a long story behind this, but anyway, I did it, almost drowned in the Coeur d'Alene Lake. That was awesome. But the point is that training for the triathlon, A, it takes too much damn time, and B, it takes too much toll on your joints, because I'm not like a hot rod when it comes to running. I've got a window and a shelf life of a certain amount of time that I can deal with running. And what happened, and when I run properly, and when I was training for the triathlon, I was doing a lot of heel toe running, and landing on the heel and landing on the outside of the heel and like rolling into the toe. And it's so bad for your joints. I mean, jogging, that's what jogging is. And jogging wasn't even invented until 70 years ago, because people thought, what the hell's the point of that? And now we're like, oh, you should be lower impact on your body. And now we've got these cushioned shoes where you can spring forward. Running, I think, is just jumping from toe to toe. And that's what it should be. And it seems to be a lot better for me physique-wise, feeling-wise, explosive energy-wise, if I keep it under 2 miles and I just run hard. Or I'll walk, run hard, and it seems to be way better for me than like, I'm going to go for a 5-mile run today. I'd go for a 5-mile run. I would sit down at the office or at the desk, stand up, be so damn sore. Now I don't really get sore anymore. So it's pretty amazing. This is way off the topic of juice cleanses and whether or not they work. I have no freaking idea if they work. I don't think they're bad if you're active. If you are not very active and you have problems with fructose, don't do them. I don't even go to the vegetable ones, the kale and the spinach and all that shit. Oh my gosh, I would never, ever grind up kale or any of the greens and the beets and all that shit. I've done it. I thought that was the way to get healthy, the California thing. And to be honest, the only time I got food poisoning out there was when we ordered, this was the first problem, but the green juices at the same place we got the burritos. I'm certain it was the green juice that gave it to us, the dysentery. I'm absolutely certain. Okay. We've done that. We've done the juice cleanses, which we really got nowhere on. And I'm sorry about that, but it's been a hell of a day. Okay. Vitamin B12 and brain decline. Let's talk about this. Where is this headline? There we go. Even with normal B12 levels, this is from News Medical, cognitive decline can still occur, raising questions about whether current standards are sufficient. Do you know who doesn't get vitamin B12 at all? Vegans. 0 B12. The body doesn't make it. The only way we get it is through animal products. Okay, so listen to this. Dear doctors, come on, pages. I was surprised when a blood test at my annual checkup found I'm low in B vitamins, especially B12. My doctor gave me a shot and whoop, fatigue that I've been feeling went away. Why is B12 so important? What kind of foods do you need to be eating to have enough of it? Dear reader, vitamin B12 is what is known as an essential nutrient. Essential. But you don't get it from plants. Brian Johnson, the guy who's trying to live forever, spending a couple million, if not more than that, a year, he's a vegan. Guess where he gets his B12 from? A supplement. Why does he take B12? Because it's necessary, says the guy who wants to live forever. Okay, it's a chemical compound that's crucial to proper functioning of the body and thus good health. The other thing that's important to understand about an essential nutrient is that the body is either able to isn't able to manufacture or doesn't produce it in the quantities needed. So it must be gotten through the diet. Okay, B12 referred to as standalone vitamin. It's actually a group of 8 B vitamins known as the B complex, blah, 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 blah. Crucial role in the manufacturing of cells, keeps nerve fibers throughout the body healthy, helps the body convert protein into energy. It cut off here because my printer is unbelievably bad, and it plays a key role in the synthesis of DNA. What happens when you start becoming metabolically unhealthy? What happens? The mitochondria aren't performing the way they should, and neither is the DNA. A B12 deficiency can cause general fatigue. It can also lead to anemia, malfunction of structural damage of the nerves, muscle weakness, and gastrointestinal issues. Additional symptoms can include tingling, numbness in the feet and hands, problem with vision, changes to balance, mobility, pale or jaundiced skin, a sore or swollen tongue, problems with sleep, and changes to memory or cognition. Holy shit, it sounds important. Okay, the body can store B12 in the liver. However, the supply is limited, thus must be replenished. Ready for the rundown? Red meat, fish, shellfish, eggs, poultry, milk, and other dairy products, all animal, contain varying amounts of vitamin B12. Prepared products, including breakfast cereals, non-dairy milks, nutritional yeast, and meat substitutes, are fortified with B12. They don't have it. And if they don't have it naturally, what does that mean? You better believe that that means that your body cannot get it bioavailable. The bioavailability of that product is not as good as if you got it in something natural. That's all I'm saying. That's an observation, by the way. A diet rich in B12 is only half the equation. The body must also be able to properly digest the food that contain it. As a result, there you go. To properly digest the foods that contain it. If it's fortified with it, the body probably has no idea what to do with it. That's why when you talk about sugar spikes and insulin spikes, it's not so much so with honey as it is with cane sugar or with high fructose corn syrup. Honey is this matrix. It's this compound. It's got like 5,000 different polyphenols and compounds in it that we haven't identified. High fructose corn syrup was made in a lab and it's shit. Your body doesn't know what to do with it. It's like putting a malware in a computer system. It just goes nuts versus putting the right amount of code into the operating system. As a result, adults over the age of 50 who begin to produce fewer digestive enzymes, people who have undergone weight loss surgery. Does weight loss surgery include semaglutide, GLP-1s? Okay. People who have undergone And those living with certain medical conditions such as Crohn's can struggle with absorption, a long-term use of heartburn medication. So Crohn's, people seem to have amazing effects who have Crohn's. They go on a carnivore diet. They seem to have unbelievable effects. Couldn't the B12 absorption be in there because the body absorbs it properly through the right animal foods like steak, red meat? It's possible. If anyone suspects they may have a B12 deficiency, we encourage them to get a shot in the ass from our hospital. No, I'm just kidding. It says check in with a doctor. But that's what it is. I think you just go get a shot in the ass, B12, and boom, ready to go. But it's only temporary. Okay. Bop, 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 bop. We know that it's necessary for cognitive function. What's considered normal might be inefficient. I think this is also true. We don't know what the appropriate daily value is. Okay. Now, best sources of B12, I said it already. One more time, grass-fed beef, wild salmon, pasture-raised eggs, and high-quality, no, screw high-quality supplements. Who put these notes in here? It was me. I do all my own notes because I don't have an assistant. Okay. Yeah. All right, now let's go. Final thoughts from Brent Edwards, sitting in for Evan Kaufman and Mark Owens on the Counter Cause podcast. Tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Central, a breakthrough in the reversal of nonverbal autism. Dr. Fry has published over 200 peer-reviewed papers and has the actual patient results to back it up. Tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Central, I'm going to record that show. I don't think we're going to do it live. I'm going to do it recording. You guys are going to be amazed. He's got an amazing information, but there is a drawback. Can you guess what it is? It doesn't make any money. So there's no funding for research to use this off-label drug, leucovorin, for autism patients because it's a chemo drug which can command up to like a $50,000 a month payment. And do you know what it does? It lessens the effect of the chemo. It reverses the effects of the chemo or it dampens it. That's how bad chemo is. It's the best bad option we have, sir. Remember that in Argo? That's what chemo feels like. Okay. Guys, see you on the next one.